So, over half of Quebec households now include a dog or a cat, and most of us consider them a part of the family. And yet, currently, the Quebec government completely leaves animals out of the emergency response framework. So, even though it's the province that determines what municipalities have to do when it comes to disaster planning, their animals are not included in any of the current regulations. So currently in the provincial regulations, there's no mention of animals at all. And so even though if it's the Quebec government that tells municipalities what they have to do in case of emergencies, it's up to the municipality's discretion whether they take on or provide for animals in the case of a disaster. So depending on where you reside in Quebec, you could be forced to evacuate while leaving your animal behind. This is really completely left up to each individual municipality. And what the SPCA is asking for is for the Minister of Public Security that is currently reviewing a key regulation when it comes to determining municipalities' obligations when it comes to emergency management. We're asking the minister to include animals in these regulations so that municipalities have to include animals in their evacuation plans, in their emergency response plans. Okay, great. So this isn't just an animal welfare issue, it's a public safety issue. The New Leger poll indicates that 86% of people would refuse to evacuate without their dog or a cat in the event of an emergency. This should really serve as an alarm bell to the provincial government because people who refuse to evacuate are, of course, putting themselves at risk and also putting first responders at risk. And this is something we've seen across the globe in natural disasters. People systematically having a hard time leaving, understandably so, without their animals, putting themselves in danger. In the case of Hurricane Katrina a few years ago in the US, people died as a result of having stayed behind with their animals. So animals really need to be included in emergency response plans, not just for their own safety, but for the safety of the public as well.
Yeah,
Another aspect of that too is we have a lot of scientific literature now also that demonstrates that the trauma associated with having to leave behind an animal or losing an animal during a natural disaster really hinders disaster victims' ability to recover from the disaster. It can leave really deep-seated emotional trauma, even post-traumatic stress disorder type symptoms. So it's really a public safety and a public health issue, not just an animal issue. I mean,
it just seems
sadly,
to be
this is part of
sadly too constant.
a
Yeah.
reality now that we're going to see more and more of these emergencies and natural disasters, and we need to be prepared, and the government needs to protect all members of our families and not just the human ones.